Welcome back everybody to the Hosbuzz Homestead. So the last time we checked in was December 1st, before we were going to go into a cold snap. Today is December 26th, and we're going to just take a look and see what's going on, and see where we're at. Now the last time, what I was basically focusing in on was the hive beetles. You know, do I have any hive beetles? Are they present? Because we get warm and then we cool off, and we get warm and we cool off. It hasn't been cold enough to knock them out. So they're little opportunists. They're also your little tell light. And they will indicate to you, hey, look, there's something wrong. I am given the opportunity to take some of their pollen, to lay eggs, to multiply. They're letting you know that there's something going on within that hive and within that colony. They're your little tell lights. So the last time we were out here and we looked, this was the big K hive, and they were doing really well. As you can see, they've got more of their entrance reduced. They really have slimmed down their entrance since the last time we visited, and they're expanding part of it, so they're blocking off more of their entrance, and they're doing it all on their own. They still have their awning up. I am not even touching the awning, and so on and so forth. And what I've wanted to do, and I should have done this before, I've wanted to raise up the back so we're not sloping to the back. So they're kind of like sloping forward more. So there's not rainwater being collected or sitting back in there, because I'm going to show you with the next hive what has happened. So this one was rocking the last time we looked at it. They all were doing good. However, this one had 10 to 15 hive beetles, and it was a concern for me. The last hive we looked at only had one hive beetle. So there is concern, because like I said, they're little tell lights as an indicator. Look, something funky happened during the meantime, and we got out of our rhythms in some sort of way. There was some type of hardship or something that happened, and so on and so forth. So this one became a dead out, or they left, or something happened. So this was their brood chamber. They had a little bit of honey in the brood chamber. So what I had done is, now it's the buffet, and they can rob all this stuff out. And this was the top box that I have sitting right there, and what they can basically do is they can rob that out as well. I'm just really not in the mood to deal with any of the honey. I could scrape it from the frames. Basically, when I opened it up, there was very few dead bees on the bottom, but what I had seen in the corner was a pool of water. They had a pool of water way into the back, and everything on this side had gotten moldy, and there was just a few dead bees on the bottom board. So I'm not quite sure what all had happened. Maybe they took off, I don't know, or maybe something happened with the queen and they just decided that they were going to join some of these other colonies in the meantime, and that could have happened. I don't know. So this was a failure of some sort, but again, I wasn't really hot on this colony that had came. This is this year's swarm. I wasn't that hot on this colony because they were high maintenance to begin with. I took them in. We're gonna see how it goes, and it's just like what Brad was saying in the live stream the other night. You don't want to keep trying to help out a weak hive with some of your stronger hives and try to limp your way through and hoping that there's going to be a miracle of some sort happen and so on and so forth. And I should have done this. I've got this philosophy anyways, this survival of the fittest. If they make it, they make it. If they don't, they don't. I had already anticipated that I was going to have problems with them. Now, would I have had problems with them if the water didn't collect in the back? Maybe not. But it's a lesson to me that, you know, I need to put kind of some board in the back to shim it up so the water is not rolling to the back and collecting, or maybe make some drain holes in the back and the bottom board. I don't know. I still have to explore that yet. But the whole thing of it is, you know, we all go through these different things of things settling or things pitching or whatever with our stands or where their location is or whatever the case may be. This is just another part in this whole art of beekeeping that we got to take in consideration. And like I had said before, water and any type of moisture is going to be your enemy for these colonies. That's why you watch all these lovely videos that Jeff, Dirt Rooster, all of these guys that put up videos, and there's a whole bunch others out there as well. But you'll notice how the bees get into these soffit areas. They get into the areas of these houses and so on and so forth, in between walls. And the reason for that is that they're looking for a dry place. They're not looking to be outside weathering the elements. They want a dry place because they know that's what's going to make them successful. So there's different things I have to consider, you know, what I'm going to do moving forward. And there's a lot of things to consider when you're in the South. Tons of things. It might not seem like a big challenge, but there is lots and lots of challenges here in the South. And, you know, heat, all the rain, all the humidity, you know, and everything else. So, yeah, I'll have to dive into this deeper and so on and so forth. So this is the Madonna hive. And as you know, they're newly constructing. They're backfilling all of their wax here where this crack is. They no longer want this crack here. So there's bees. I can see them moving around in back of there. They're backfilling, they're constructing their wax, they're solidifying the entrance reducer down and getting ready for what's to come. Now, as you notice too, they're hauling in pollen, tons of pollen, all sorts of different shades. I do believe there's some beekeepers somewhere around in this area that are feeding the dry pollen. And again, if you have beekeepers doing that in your area, that's another thing to consider when you have hive beetles, your little lights. And you know, that's just more food for the hive beetle if they don't have the population built up inside. And that's some of the things the beekeepers are wanting to do. They're wanting to build up their population. They're doing everything in their brother to help them get through winter, so on and so forth. I'm not so hot on the pollen thing because for some odd reason we have pollen coming in all the time during winter here. There's something always blooming where I'm at, my location. A lot of people have all these ornamental type trees. You know, they have all kinds of beautiful things growing and displaying their houses with. So yeah, they're able to get pollen, whether or not they're being fed it by people or getting the real stuff. So I checked on their hive beetles. I cracked them open the other day and I looked. Now remember, they had about 10 to 15 hive beetles. And I think this next year what I'm going to do is I'm not going to put the honey super on. Once we take off the honey, that's it. But the way we were, and they had such a huge population at that time, I mean, they were overflowing. So it was kind of like a swarm prevention kind of thing with me, where we were at. So that's why they got the honey super to kind of tame them down a little bit and so on and so forth. But again, when I looked in there the other day and I looked for some hive beetles, there was 0. And the box is full of bees. I mean, there's tons of bees in there. And they still have a lot of food stores as well. So, you know, both boxes are super, super heavy. And like with the big K hive, I wanted to put a shim underneath there to kind of, you know, if there's water coming in there or whatever, I wanted to make sure that it's moving out in the front and stop collecting in the back or whatever the case may be. And like I said, I'm going to have to look over those things. But yeah, they had, the Madonna Hive had 0 hive beetles, full of bees. So hopefully we'll keep continuing on with this journey, getting through winter. I mean, that's our biggest concerns. But again, sometimes the blessing in disguise is if you have hives that, you know, they don't make it, it's not to sweat it. It's not meant to be. And it really isn't. Should I have messed with this this year's swarm for that long? Probably not. I should have probably just left it. If they survived, they survived. If they didn't, kind of mentality. But, you know, a lot of times you're wanting to be helpful. You're wanting to try to boost up the amount of hives that you have and colonies and so on and so forth. And, you know, you're wanting to sell more honey and this and that. And Mother Nature, well, she will dictate what she wants and what blessings you're supposed to have, really, and the lessons you're supposed to learn when you're crafting your art. So I thank you all for watching, and we'll check in again. We're going to be in this cold spell for about a couple of weeks, if not, I don't know, more. I don't know. It's a roller coaster. So we've got this cold snap. We'll have another cold snap there at the beginning of February. We'll probably have another one at the end of February. And like I said, guys, we're getting closer and closer down here in the south, and it's on. It's on after that. So thanks for watching, guys. I hope y'all had a happy holiday. I enjoyed watching all y'all's videos. Until next time, folks, I'll be making more.